everyone. It's me, Kelly. I am actually currently working on some pretty cool commissions that I got for a friend. Native plants, native flowers, and butterflies, which is like dream come true. That's like what I love to paint. So I am kind of like restabilizing after holiday windows, and then we just had my daughter's birthday and we're going in for another birthday for my boyfriend. Been very busy, and I'm grateful for that, but I am a little I haven't been painting very much or sharing except for this, so this is perfect because I get to work on it at home and in my pantry slash studio. You'll see we have all of our pantry items here and some random canvases and a vacuum. It's a mess, but it's cool. I got this space. Yeah, so the reason I wanted to talk on here real quick is something that's been kind of like weighing on me for, probably a year or so. And I just feel like it's important for me to share my perspective on it and sort of like make a general statement in regards to how I will continue doing my own artwork and how I want to run my business and how I want to continue in this craft that I have dedicated my life to, right? And I think it's important to share because I want you to sort of understand my perspective and my take on it, especially if you're considering hiring me for a job, or you enjoy my art and want to know my stance on things, because coming in the future I think it will be more of a conversation, especially among artists, than it is even today. And in the long term, I just want to sort of say my piece. So one of the first things I want to get out of the way before I start talking about this is I'm not saying this to disparage anyone who uses AI in their business or in their life. I'm not saying this to say that I'm like judging people or, not to support businesses who use it. I am from a small town and I understand how difficult it is for business owners in these areas to stay afloat. And, I understand too that having some sort of like artistic skill is something that not everyone has, spent the time to develop. And for a lot of people, it's easier, especially if like you're not super technology savvy or whatever, it's easier to like ask ChatGPT to create a flyer for your business for like a fundraiser or whatever, like, and I get that. I totally understand it. And so I'm not one of those people who says that we need to boycott businesses who use AI for, convenience purposes or whatever. I think in the long term, it probably will be more beneficial to us as small communities to support each other regardless. And I don't want to come off as like being judgmental or trying to alienate people in my community. Like, I don't think that's beneficial for me. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm saying, the reason I'm talking about this is because it does matter to me, like the impact that AI is having on our environment and to the creative community and intellectual rights and property and all that sort of thing. And I'm holding to divergent beliefs in my head that like, while I am talking about it and I do care about how it's harming certain things that I care about, I also understand, and like I don't want to upset people who I care about and I want to support and uplift and things like that, because in small towns we have to stick together. And ultimately we are going against like the big conglomerates, the Amazon and Walmart and all these people. They use it too, so why would I have an issue with like a small mom and pop shop using it? Would I rather that they hired a local graphic design person to like create these flyers for them, yes, but I also understand like the cost may not be like feasible for these small businesses and all these different things. So I just want to get that out of the way because I don't want to come across as like being judgmental or, you know, holier than thou or whatever. The reason I'm making this video, the point of me talking about this, is I want to pledge to myself and to anyone who enjoys my art or is like looking forward, is going to follow along this journey with me. Anyone who purchases a book from, you know, like one of the projects I've done, one of, you know, the children's books or whatever, the coloring books, anyone who wants to hire me for a wall or a window in the future, I want you to understand and know that I will never be using artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, any of these generative AI programs to create my artwork. And I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why that I've been pondering and coming up with. So the first, probably most important reason why I will not be doing it is because when it first came out, I had the same feelings about it. I just don't want to. Like, I just don't want to outsource the creative process to a machine. I enjoy doing that. There's been so many times where I've started a canvas, a wall, a window with a certain image in mind, you know, maybe like a general trajectory, but I truly believe that the magic comes in during the process of, you know, getting the image onto the canvas or the wall or the window, and the different environment, you know, like the way the composition settles on like different size canvases and things like that. Like, it always changes. And sometimes I'll step back and I'll kind of like squint my eyes and I will see, like, I can see the shapes and the lines and the colors that I want to incorporate. And I think that that's something magical, honestly. Like, I do believe that artwork can be divinely inspired, and I don't want to miss out on that whole breadth of, like, you know, beautiful spiritual sort of creation that happens. Because to me, art is so much more than making money, and I do appreciate, you know, that I'm able to, like, you know, help support the family with it and stuff. Like, you know, I can buy my daughter's birthday presents, and I do take it very seriously. Like, I pay my bills with it. But there are limits to, you know, like, it means more to me than it's just money. Like, I was painting before I turned it into a business, and I don't want to lose that, like, that meaning that I have with it. Like, the yeah, like the spiritual experience that I enjoy while I am creating artwork. It's a lot more than that for me. So that's one main reason, is just that I don't want to give away that process. And I do believe that the process itself is an integral part of creating artwork, and artwork is so much more than just a pretty picture. Like, there's a reason humans have done it since, you know, time immemorial, and will continue to do it. And I think that human made art in specific is like, so, it's like creating music, it's like writing, it's like speaking and telling stories. It's something that is a unique magic of human beings, and we need to protect that. So, and I'm not saying you can't also be creative and use AI. I'm just saying that your creativity is going to be more potent and powerful because of you doing it. So, another big reason that I will not be using it in my artwork is because of the intellectual property theft that is happening. My artwork, just by the virtue of being online, is being fed into algorithms. I know this because it's on Google, because I have pictures on my Spotify, or not my Spotify, my Shopify. I have, you know, a website. I have all my art on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. And when I put these images onto these programs, especially when I did before AI was even a concept, I didn't consent to my artwork being a part of the amalgamation of art that is being fed into these programs to create its images. So I I know it's not a direct ripoff. Like I've never actually seen ChatGPT reproduce my artwork with like a different flair, you know, to be used in a flyer or whatever, or for a business logo or something. But in a sense, that is what's happening, especially with like more like graphic design work and things like that. Um, I will say there was an instance in a mural group that I'm in where someone was lamenting the fact that they designed a wall for someone. They came up with a concept and a mock-up, and the owner of the building sent them back a ChatGPT image, which has happened to me too, and it really it's not it's not a fun experience. Um, and so they shared the image that ChatGPT had given them, and someone in the group knew exactly the artist that created that. It was a direct ripoff of this other artist's wall that they created, with some wording changed. So that's just something to consider that you may run into when you're using ChatGPT to create your images for you. Um, it's very possible that you could get stuck in a situation where the original image that you've created for your client is copy and paste from another artist's intellectual property, which could be very dangerous for you legally. Um, so there is that aspect. And I happen to believe that that's unethical, immoral, and not just because of the risk factor, also because I think that's messed up. So yeah, I do care about intellectual property rights and artists being having control over how their art is used and shared. Okay, so then finally, the environmental impacts of these data centers, and the greenhouse gases, the water waste and water pollution, the noise, the sound pollution that's happening, people having large swaths of, you know, natural forest or, you know, public land being sold off to these corporations who are putting in this sort of thing without any consent from the people who own land next to these places or live in towns next to these places. That right there is when I decided that it was time for me to start being more open about how I feel and speaking up a little bit more, because the creative um, aspect to it is one reason that I started to like have a lot of feelings around it. Um, but the other aspect is that I do believe that we have a responsibility to protect our natural resources, our land, our forests, our old growth forests, all of these things that are being slowly losing protections and things like that. That is a huge deal to me. And that is one of the reasons why I decided to commit myself to having a hard and fast rule against using it for myself personally and also in my artwork. Um, and there's a lot of like propaganda, I would say, going around saying that it's really not that bad, and you know, there's all these other ways that we're polluting, and even just by having a phone, you're contributing to that, and blah blah blah. Like, I would rather download my photos and videos onto a USB drive than have my cloud, my iCloud, that like I didn't actually consent to having all my pictures on anyways. Like, I don't care about that. I care about having clean forests and clean rivers and clean drinking water and all these things. Um, so those are my three main reasons why, you know, I wanted to come on here and say my piece and just explain like how I feel about it, because there is if you're not really like in the communities online for like window painting, mural painting, and even, you know, more like old school forms of painting on canvases, paper, whatever, you wouldn't really understand the pressure the artists are being put under. So I don't want to like bring up specific instances or specific people that I followed, but I have seen the insertion of artificial intelligence and VR headsets and things like this into the art world. And I've seen amazing artists who use doodle grids and tape grids apologizing for not getting the VR headset yet. I've seen, you know, very talented, successful artists start using AI to create their designs for them. And I've noticed the shift in their art, like how it is no longer like their own art, the reason that I followed them for so long. And there is a heavy pressure for everyone to do it, because if you're against it, why are you against it? What's your problem? Like, do you think you're better than us? Like, and there is this huge, I don't know, it's like this weird, you know, trying to convince everyone to use it, that it's really not that bad. And if you're not using it, you're gonna get left behind. It's saving me all this time. It's made my art and my lettering and my whatever so much better, and I'm improving by leaps and bounds. And if you're not using it, you're gonna not be able to rise to the same level. You're gonna get lost behind, stuck behind, and all this stuff. And I have realized how much money alone is the driving factor for so many of these muralists and window painters to do what they do. And my concern is that with VR headsets, with AI, with copy paste tracing and all that, the market's already oversaturated. So this is going to just amplify that times like 100, you know. And that's great. Like I'm not disappointed that there's more muralists out there doing what they do. I think it's public art is amazing for the communities that it is in, and it's something that we really need more of. And I'm so happy that artists are finding a way that they can not be starving artists anymore, that they can support themselves. I kind of like paved the way for window painters in my small town, and I've seen a couple other artists come up doing what I kind of like, you know, I created this little niche in our environment, and they're able to be successful, and that makes me happy. I'm so glad that artists are being able to like make a real living doing what they love, because I'm an artist and I know that I would not be happy doing anything else. So everyone benefits. The community is like decked to the halls every Christmas now and 4th of July, and you know, we're like really going for a more beautiful experience in downtown, and that's super cool. Like, I love that. I'm not saying this is bad that more artists are creating art. What's bad, in my personal opinion, is that it's not their art. It might be their concept, they might have had the idea and typed it in, but every single ChatGPT image that I've seen is very clearly has the artistic voice of ChatGPT. It's very recognizable. I can see it, and it makes me sad, because all of these beautiful walls, all of this amazing opportunity for like public art that really speaks to the soul is being co-opted by a machine. It's not human. It's lacking in soul, in spirit, in my opinion, I will say. So that's a big deal to me, and I find it incredibly disrespectful that there are so many artists who happen to use it for themselves and have some lingering maybe feelings about it. Maybe they feel judged, maybe they feel like, you know, a little guilty, maybe, I don't know what their reasoning is, but they're like shoving it down everyone's throat. And I don't like that. So I want to come on here and say, if the cost of me choosing to continue to create art through the skills that I've learned by practice and trial and error, and, you know, spending hours online studying like forums and doing the search feature to figure out what kinds of paints to use for this surface and all these different things, and all this wealth of knowledge that I've like accumulated in my mind over the years by just being obsessive and dedicated to my craft, if the cost of me continuing to create the way I always have from my own mind and my own heart and my own soul is losing out on a couple jobs, or maybe not making as much money as the people who are able to do, like, you know, a 40-foot wall every 2 weeks because they don't have to do any of the creative work for it. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, leave me behind. I will be back with the sign painters who are still using you know, baby oil to load their brushes, right? And painting by hand, like with their rulers and stuff. Like, it's not worth it for me. It is not tempting to me. There's no world where I would rather sell my soul and sell out the craft that has brought me so much joy and insight and been like my spiritual teacher for all these years for fast cash or something. Like, sell out water, oh yeah, log those old growth redwoods so we can have a data center right here because I need extra speed. Like, it's so sad to me. It's so weird. And of all lines of work where I would expect people to just be like kind of ambivalent to the importance of their work and the important human touch that is necessary to create it, I would have not expected it to be artists of all people. And that tells me that there's a lot of people who are in it for the money and not because they actually care about the integrity of their artwork. And I know that's going to piss people off when I say that, so I might not even share this, but I'm going to put it on my personal YouTube page because no one's even on there. So this is just my little rant and something that I care a lot about. And like, if you want to argue with me about it, if I offended you, like, I sincerely apologize. I'm not trying to like hurt anyone's feelings or be mean. I just really care a lot about this. And you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being a Luddite about it, but I'm willing to take that chance. It feels important to me. So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I've recorded this video so many different times. I've done it on TikTok and like privated it. You know, I feel like I need to get this out. And I don't really know how to fully explain what I'm thinking, but I guess I'll end this by just reiterating what's important to me. The reason that I create art is because I care a lot about our natural resources. I paint animals and flowers and native plants and the river, and I care about protecting that, our earth, and I care about the beauty that is human creative potential and the creative spirit. And I think that it has a touch of divine intervention. It's like something that comes from something else. When artists are like really tapped in and tuned in, beautiful things happen, things that cannot be replicated by a machine. So that's all I wanted to say. Kelly Marie Art, I don't really like that name, even though that's my name. I think it's because my mom always called me Kelly Marie when I was in trouble, but Kelly Aldrich. No one will probably ever know my name as an artist. Like, I'm not Michelangelo, right? But I'm making a commitment to myself and to anyone who enjoys my artwork that it will always be from me. I have no desire to incorporate AI into my business at all, ever. Hardline, zero.